What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of East Meets West. I am your commissioner and guest host, Joe, joined here by my two colleagues, owner of the Washington Redskins, Matt.
Wrong, but okay.
Wisconsin Redskins.
There you go.
This is tougher than it seems. And owner of Alexander's Greats, living up to his name lately, Alex.
Boo.
We are coming in today. I am going to be filling in for Jake, the owner of the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. He is currently serving a 1-week suspension due to bringing up politics in the fantasy football chat. Jake has understood, accepted these terms. He will be back next week, but that just goes to show no one around here is higher than the law. So Jake will be out for 1 week, and we had a wild week, guys. A lot to talk about today. We're going to be bringing you the recap. We're going to be bringing you the future picks for this week coming up. Talk a little bit with our guest, Alex, going to be joining us for the whole time. And, yeah, some big things going on. And not to kick it off big, we have a trade live on the air. Breaking news. Someone sound the siren.
Woo!
Woo! We have Average Joe's and Polska Mafia. Right as we're kicking this thing off, literally seconds before we launch this video for you today. Big trade. We're talking a 4-for-3 trade. Big names involved. Let's go over that first here before we even get into the recap. So Average Joe's is trading Will Fuller, Cole Beasley, and Jonathan Taylor to Polska Mafia for Ezekiel Elliott, the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft, Mecole Hardman, Matt Ryan, and Devin Singletary. So I want to know what you guys think right off the bat. Huge names, big deal in place. We all knew after the 60-something point week from Polska Mafia, he was looking to move on, get a roster change up. Average Joe's is always looking to make a move when he can, sometimes to benefit his team. We've seen it go the other way. Let's start with our guest. What do you think of the trade?
Well, obviously, Tommy is desperate. He's 2-5. He needs to make a move. I kind of figured he was going to do this and accept some stupid trade. And that's exactly what he did. Like 48 hours after my trade talks with him. But I think I like the move for Tom. Tom is trying to prove that he's GM of the year. I guess that's, going to be up for debate. The cameraman shaking his head no. Not happening. But, I like the move for Tom. I think Tom just made his team stronger. And, it depends on, obviously, Zeke.
I mean, I wouldn't think that that Tommy would really be considered getting rid of both of his running backs. I mean, Devin Singletary still kind of stinks, but he put himself right back in a situation where he's like, all right, cool, I don't have 2 Bills anymore, and he got Cole Beasley. And now has Cole Beasley and Diggs, which he still has 2 Bills.
So this move jumps off to me as Tommy kind of feeling that Tom pressure, usual, like, oh, something's not going right, I got to make a move. Looks like that's what he did. I'm looking right now to see what Tommy has fab-wise. So he has $46 in fab, because this move to me jumps out and says, I'm going to be hitting the waiver wire heavy this week, trying to get that starting second running back in. There's a few options out there, a lot of injuries going on, but yeah, that's the first thing that jumps off. He's loading up on those receivers again. I mean, Diggs got hurt as well, so maybe he's a little concerned there. But really a Will Fuller and Jonathan Taylor for Zeke deal is what I'm seeing. I don't know.
For what it's worth, he is first in the free agent in the fab order. So, if he ties,
yeah.
That's what happens when you're at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, this is true.
You tend to get the first tiebreaker. Cool. Well, big news there. We're gonna see how that shapes up. I mean, we're counting down to the trade deadline. We're a week away, so a week and a half away, I should say. So big move to kick things off. Camera.
Well, speaking of the trade deadline, the rumors are that Will Fuller's being shot by the Texans. That's what's going around. Don't know how true it is, but I feel. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, Will Fuller, for not as flashy as a name is, he still is like the wide receiver 8 right now, which is really good. And I mean, he'll definitely lose value because he gets a lot of the garbage time points that Houston gets every week, where they just let them go up and down the field, and the target every time, it looks like, is Will Fuller. So he just gets a lot of chunk points in the fourth quarter, which just adds value to him.
You know what I sense too, being like a big deal in this trade? I bet you Matt Ryan, with Tom coming off that Cam Newton game, he wanted a quarterback, and then he's always been searching for that running back. So, but to be honest, I'm kind of iffy on both sides. I don't know if it's going to make either team much better. Like Zeke, we've seen Zeke really struggle without Dak. That offensive line is a little beat up, and if they're going to be starting that 7th round rookie, that teams are just going to be loading the box against Zeke, not respecting it. Well,
Yes.
And they're going against the Eagles coming up, who have a good, although it doesn't seem like it all the time, we have a good rush defense. So we'll see how it plays out. But I don't know. For as many big names, when I first read it, when it first came through, we were getting ready to launch the show off today, and everyone was like, holy shit, like, this is a huge deal. And I'm looking back now on it, and I'm looking at their rosters, and I'm just kind of like, well, did either team really get better? I mean, if anything, Tom is now relying heavily on Devin Singletary to jump in and plug in and be a flex, it looks like, which he's losing that Will Fuller upside, I think. I don't think Devin Singletary carries that same upside, so we'll see. But with that said, we're going to move into our recap for the week. We're going to kick things off here with me, both sides of the bun, versus Jose. Game of the week, it didn't live up to game of the week as far as how close some of the other games were, but I do think we still had a great game nonetheless. Jose ended up taking this one 118.28 to 109 even. For a while there on Sunday, it looked like I had it wrapped up. I was projected 37-point victory at the end of right on the fourth quarter of the 4 o'clock games. And then Justin Herbert happened, and he went on a tear. So, Matt, I'll kick it to you. What did you think about this game?
I mean, you should have won, but you had a couple of injuries, right? Like Kenyon Drake and Chris Carson both got banged up.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kenyon, I won't say Kenyon's injury. He got injured late in the fourth quarter. To be honest, he was just being Kenyon Drake until then and not doing much. So,
Cliff's disappointment.
Cliff Kingsbury is him, Adam Gase, and what the hell is the Rams coach? McVay, Sean McVay.
Yeah, he
They
sucks.
must all meet up every Monday or Tuesday, whenever they're done playing, is all go get coffee together and talk about how shitty of a play caller they each are. Because and I'll add Nagy to that group as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, they probably go to
he's
some
fucking
like hipster like coffee shop.
The
you know,
worst.
a bunch
And
of
the-
young dudes.
It baffles me that Kingsbury and McVay. I mean, McVay, I see he brought like an innovative offense. He's been to the game a couple. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's led the team to a good record. Kingsbury literally has done nothing. He basically got fired from a college job. That he quit himself to come to the NFL. He basically got dumped by a college team to come to the NFL and jumped on the Arizona Cardinals. Dude he kneels the ball out of the shotgun to help. It just baffles me. Like minor things like that. Calls nothing but counter sweeps to the right for Kenyon Drake, who clearly has been pounding the ball up the middle last week. I have no idea what he's thinking, but yeah, I mean it's a little frustrating, but yeah, definitely Jose took that one there due to my running backs alone. Even though Odell did go down, out for the year. So
Yeah.
what do you think, Alex?
Well, obviously, Justin Herbert came up huge for Jose in this one. I think even with Odell going down, that saved him. It's unfortunate because you did put up a lot of points, Kamish. I also feel for Matt. We'll get to Matt's game eventually, but it's never fun when you post up a solid number and you still end up on the losing side of things. But with the new acquisition of Michael Thomas, it's not entirely over. For both sides of the bun.
I think we need to win 5 of 6 to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think they need to be a good 5. They can't. I can lose to like Brian. I don't think I can lose to you or Brock.
Definitely can't lose to me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can lose to the East. You can't lose to the West.
Well, I can't lose to the East
Can't lose
because
to me again.
come on, guys, you guys are the only ones that are giving me wins this year.
True.
We're gonna move on to.
Is that true?
It is true. Yeah. I've only beaten you and Tom, which then builds my ego to say if I were in the East, I would go 13-0. We'll move on to. I want to hit on your game last, man. So we're gonna jump to Mike and Tommy. Mike, this was a beat down from the start. I mean, there was not a single point in the day that I thought Tommy was even going to come within 30 points of Mike. He almost did that somehow, magically, just because Mike's kicker and I think a few other players. DJ Chark didn't have a great game, but this was clearly a different class. This was the starters of a professional team versus the bench of a minor league. So Any opinions? Alex, we'll kick at you first.
Yeah, this was a bully beatdown. You know, Michael absolutely mollywopped Tommy. Tommy, you know, rough week for Tommy. You know, he missed with Jeff Wilson, but you know that's kind of hard to anticipate. Mike, as you said it in the previous episode, definitely probably has the deepest team in the league. Even his bench players did well. It was just, I mean, the best team in the league going up against the worst team in the league. You know, result was as we expected.
Yeah, and what a week for Mike to actually have his lowest scoring week was against Tommy. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to take a shot at him, but what a week to have your worst performance. I mean, he still hasn't scored under 100, which you know
Mike,
is
great.
Oh, I thought you meant Tommy.
Yeah,
I thought you
no, Mike. Mike hasn't scored under 100 yet, which is incredible in the year. But
Yeah, well-rounded team.
yeah.
I want to talk one thing, just question, see what you guys think of Tommy's strategy going into this week, but a quick Tyler Boyd versus Dearness Johnson look-in. 22.24 for Tyler Boyd, 0.3, 1 carry for 3 yards for Dearness Johnson.
Good day, though.
They
Thanks.
were throwing the ball quite a bit for him being the passing down back. He just didn't see the ball. Kareem Hunt is an animal. He's clearly the better runner that's going to take all the volume. Just to continue to beat a dead horse on how great a trade that was. But the one thing I want to mention was Tommy went into this week with Mike, 2 empty bench spots. IR taken up, but 2 empty bench spots. Didn't even take a chance on someone like a Carlos Hyde that Tom capitalized on. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But what's your opinion on what do you think he was thinking there? Just leaving 2 spots open.
Oh, Tommy?
Yeah.
The problem is there's not a whole lot of thinking going on
Okay.
in Tommy's organization. Polska Mafia's, or, you know, the team's in shambles.
Yes.
I think he just did it, you know, as we just saw at the beginning of the show, he's in desperation mode. There's not much to say to this.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, unless he was expecting like a bulk trade for Zeke, like a 3-for-1 or something, that would be the only reason I might have 2 empty bench spots. But you still fill them with something and just
Yeah.
drop the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have to have a contingency plan. I
Especially-
don't think he had one.
Yeah, I
He
think
wasn't gonna
especially
trade
in another like weird, not to, well, all right, yeah, kind of to keep it on Tommy, but he had
That's what we do.
Des Bryant on the bench. He picked him up when he was rumored to get signed. He then got signed, and then he dropped him with still 2 open bench spots. So I don't know. Some things going on there, Tommy. I don't know. Not that, again, we have the same record, so who am I to judge? But some decisions to maybe be evaluated over there in Polska Mafia land.
If there's any good news for his team, Rob Gronkowski seems to be, you know, plugging along. So he may have found himself a tight end, which I'm salty about.
I thought for sure you were going to say last place gets the most balls. But, all right. We're going to move on to Steve versus the man of the hour over here, our special guest.
Great.
One of the best games of the week. Not from the points. I think you would have rather put up a little bit more points here, but
Yeah.
you and Steve tight all the way through, down to the last second. Henderson's losing yards in the last couple minutes. I'm sure you were on the edge of your seat. What were you thinking this week?
Well, what I was thinking in that last, you know, the last minute there, I was ready to, you know, jump out a window. That was a close one. I would say both of our teams did not necessarily perform well, but I did call it. Steve is not tall enough to ride in the playoff train, and I kicked him right off. So, you know, no playoffs for you, Steve.
I mean, that was
Oh yeah, Pat Mahomes had a bad week.
playing in the snow out there.
Playing in the
Denver.
snow. I mean,
Yeah.
the defense did all the work.
Yeah, the defense had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, so I'm a little concerned, you know, with my team is banged up. Not great performances. I was saved by Devontae Adams. Thankfully, I kept him. And yeah.
Yeah, Matt, any opinions on this game outside of what Alex wrote down?
Yeah, it actually looked really bleak for you when Henderson he got hit. It looked like he had I think it was his leg.
Yeah.
His leg
It was
got
like
all
his calf
mangled
or
on the one play. It looked like he wasn't going to come back in. I thought that was it. You were like 2 yards short at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you pulled it out and came through, and I
Cool.
appreciate that.
That's what winners do. I appreciate that you appreciate that, Matt.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Steve. So, 2 weeks in a row now, we've said, does Steve have and I know he couldn't start them all. Dalvin Cook was on bye, but does Steve have the best running back group with Freeman? Freeman now injured. He did get a little injured, but 0.8 points. And I can say, Steve, I know he had quite a few trade talks on the table to move one of those bench receivers, including Claypool. He wanted to stay in the fire there, ride out Fogle, Claypool, Crowder, Samuel. Now, Debo's hurt. Claypool came back down to reality. Any concerns you think for Steve's team moving forward? Does a playoff push needs to happen soon?
Yeah, I would say, Tom, in my opinion, Tom may have made, I think Tom just won that trade with Tommy. And, it seems like the East teams are going to be making a lot of moves as the trade deadline approaches to try to, strengthen their team. I think Steve would probably have to be active in the trade.
I think Steve's pretty fine on his team, honestly. Like, James Conner is still doing well enough to, not. You can't really complain with the production he's giving out right now. He's doing well.
Yeah, he actually
Dalvin Cook is going to come back from bye. He doesn't have any more big running backs that need to go on bye. If I were him, I would still hold on to Claypool because if Deontay doesn't play, Claypool is in that slot doing the same thing. And he's kind of on a quarterback carousel right now too, ain't he?
He has Wentz in there now. Wentz has a bye coming up soon, but he does get Dallas before he goes on bye, which is a fantastic matchup. So
yeah, he does. The only issue too is Amari Cooper. Although he did get 7 catches, they got a third-string quarterback in there now, and that might be a little bit concerning. But Coop is really good, so it doesn't matter. And Travis Kelce's going to bounce back from the week he had. They're playing in the snow.
yeah, we'll see. A.J. Brown is living up to the hype as well now that he's back from the injury. Great game by him.
Yes.
Cool. Let's go on to the highest scoring. I don't know. Nope, this did not beat you and Charlie, right? But a very high-scoring game in the East. The Globo Gym Purple Cobras taking down Brian. Shirts off, pants down, or some may say face down, ass up. He is getting pounded week after week. 140.16 to 123.96. Matt, this is your division. You can't sit back seeing Jake get this victory and scoring all those points has to be somewhat concerning for at least that first round bye. Making a push for that.
Yeah, I was sick about Lockett scoring 45 and a half.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. It's crazy because Tyler Lockett, you would think at some point they would just try to switch it up. What?
Sorry. No, Tommy just texted me and it's funny.
Tommy texted you?
Yeah, he just made me a trade offer and I left.
Oh, do you want to break the news or keep it to yourself or?
No, I'll keep it to myself.
Okay.
We'll see the video.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel.
Okay. All right, yeah. Well, I was going to say Patrick Peterson, maybe at some point you think about switching him on to Tyler Lockett because Tyler Lockett is running circles around Drake Kirkpatrick, who Mike and I were talking about this. I think that I could probably have done a better job than Drake Kirkpatrick last night, or
Wasn't
2 nights ago.
Peterson on him for the second touchdown?
He caught one over him and Buda Baker, but Patrick Peterson was mainly shadowing
Yeah.
DK. But yeah, I mean, Brian, a lot of points. He caught Allen Robinson with the concussion. Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones should be back, I think. We'll see how that plays out, but he might have to end up starting Gordon again, who fumbled twice. And Phillip Lindsay saw a lot of tick after those fumbles, so we'll see how that is moving forward. But Alex, what do you think on this this Eastern Division game?
Yeah, it was a really good game. Unfortunate for Bry. It looked like DK Metcalf, didn't have necessarily a good performance for him. That's tough because DK's a very good receiver.
He had a touchdown call back, too.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
He had a touchdown call back.
But it's just, obviously Jake, Tyler Lockett absolutely stole this game for him. I mean, a receiver putting up 45 points is just ridiculous. That would have beat Brock last week. So, yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for Bry.
Yeah, I think Brian and I, this might be the first time ever in league history, I have to look into it, that 2 teams whose defense scored over 15 points both lost in the same week. We talked about this. I think it was it either the first show where we talked about how usually if a defense can
get you a
15 to 20 points,
you
usually win that game. It's too much to come back on. I remember just scrolling through this week and seeing wow, this is a lot of Tom actually scored 17 and lost to Brock. And we'll get into that game right now, but yeah, odd week in fantasy football. So we'll jump over to the Brock football team versus Average Joe's. This one was, again, tight basically all throughout, but again, lower scoring game. Cam Newton put up negative points for Tom. Brock's defense gave him -1, so those kind of canceled out there. But the big story here was Tom just couldn't get over the fact that I shouldn't say get over the fact, but Brock getting saved by the league, I think. Last minute, getting Tyler Higbee was in the starting lineup up until the very last minute, and got some text messages, and rightfully so, I suppose. It's kind of illegal in the league not to start a full lineup, but was able to get Everett, who ended up putting up double digits for him, 4 for 28 and a touchdown. So, what's your opinion, Matt? We'll start with you on the. I'm sure you might have been one of the ones texting Brock.
Brock, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I needed that.
Wait,
Yeah.
Oh
This
yeah, I
is news
texted
to
him.
me.
Oh, it was
I
you!
texted him,
This
yeah.
is news to
I
me.
texted him.
Yeah.
Matt, we were cool, but
We
I
were
like
cool.
you a little bit
That's-
less now.
Listen,
Division
listen.
rival of mine.
Listen,
I needed that.
I super needed you and Brock to both win. You know, and it happened. And
Fair
it
enough.
is what it is. But we'll
Fair
get on to it. This game was not great. Yeah, like there isn't really any super big highlights. I mean, Cam Newton
Yeah.
ruined.
Wow.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Matt Ryan's going to take that place now. So, no, Tom is not waiting it out to see if Cam bounces back. He's
Nah.
right, moving on.
I honestly wouldn't either. I wasn't super huge on Cam this year, but I mean he was playing well enough up until this point.
Yeah.
But nah, with getting negative points playing an entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't deal with that out of my quarterback.
Yeah, and I guess to expand on that a little bit more, I mean, Joe said, that Cam and that Patriots D kind of cancels each other out, but not really, right? Like, your quarterback's not going to get you negative points, like if they
Sure.
play, a full game or whatever at least. And, I kind of have to admire Tom for going out and trying to, rectify that quarterback situation immediately. Tom is always active in the trade market, but
Yep.
Yes.
he wasted zero time, as he usually does.
Mhm.
But, I kind of respect that. Matt, don't feel too great about you helping out Brock this week, but that's all good, buddy.
You got to start a full team, bro.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mike and me did talk about this last night. We would have had to, at some point up to the game, let him know, like, hey, you got to start a full lineup. So,
I texted him like an hour for the game.
although for that, I think it's something we can talk about moving forward because it's not that he's not starting a full lineup. The guy was deemed injured last minute, so it's not like he's purposely sitting someone. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom, one thing to bring up too, he had some big pickups from what they said last minute. Carlos Hyde started, and Washington's defense, I think it was, did he pick up last minute and put in?
Tom got both of them.
Could he be
Yeah.
the GM of the year?
I will say that I would for both. I mean, the Washington pick maybe a good pickup. The Carlos Hyde, 100% luck. Like you can't expect an injury. The whole tip of the hat respect for
100%.
yeah, the whole tip of the hat respect by Jose. He's just being kind. He doesn't want to get in an argument with Tom. Start conversation. I appreciate the driving conversation in the chat, Jose. But let's call it what it is.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
Tom did accuse Jose of property destruction as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shit. I mean,
Um,
with that being all said, though, I mean, Joe's still heating up, though, right?
Joe's.
He is.
Joe's are still
He's
heating up.
heating up.
They are. What? I'm actually interested in this. I want to take a quick look. Sorry for the delay, but what did Joe score last week? I don't think. Oh, he did have a good game last week. Okay.
This weekend.
Yeah,
This
so-
game. This was just he nosedived.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for that game. Again, not very exciting. 91.32 Brock to 84.12 Tom. But it's not always exciting victories to have to get it done. Brock is now 4-3 and has himself sitting in a battle for a playoff spot. So a lot of injuries to get over, but I think he's right there. All right, we'll get to the game that we're gonna kick this one over to Matt basically right away. But just for those at home, Charlie, Matt, what lived up to be game of the week outside of what was the proclaimed game of the week, me and Jose. Charlie 134.3, Matt 134.02. Matt was winning this game with about 2-3 minutes left in the game.
It was 7.5.
7.5.
I looked at it. Yeah, there was 7.5 minutes left, and 7.5 minutes left. You're up 21. Perfect time to catch him off guard and run a jet sweep, right? Why? Why? The play got blown up, and I lost 2.5 points on that play because he lost 5 yards and fumbled, and I was up 2.2.
This is one of those games where like we talk about it, you talk it, you try to speak it into existence, and no one ever thinks it's really going to happen. Like, oh well, Robert Woods could lose negative 5 yards and fumble, and I could win. And sure enough, it happened for Charlie, and Malcolm Brown and Robert Woods then just did not see the ball for the rest of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt is sitting on the other end of what looked like a shoe-in victory there.
Yeah, I was hoping for it, but I mean, like that wasn't the real backbreaker this week. The real backbreaker for me was the Metcalf touchdown that was called back, because Russ threw, it was like a 40-something yard touchdown or whatever. So that would have been like 6 points in my favor. And instead, the very next play, he threw a pick. So that was an 8-point swing that happened to me. If I would have got that, not only would I have won, I would have got high of the week. But it is what it is. I can't.
Another defense scoring 16 points and losing too. I just realized that. There's a lot of them this week. Over 15 defenses, and
it's like what, 4 out of the 6 games?
Yeah, that stack though for Charlie. Not to take anything away from Charlie, because it's not like
Dude, it's gross.
you both deserve the win this week. You both put up 134 points, so like that's winning value in points. So. Just to hit on Charlie's team coming alive a bit, Robinson looks great. I know we said it from the beginning, like he's a real runner. He runs the ball hard. He's earning himself that NFL contract that he's trying to show everyone that there's no question who's the starter has to be in Jacksonville moving forward. DeAndre Swift starting to come alive, gets in the end zone again, but that Kyler Murray and D-Hop stack is just an easy 45, 50 points every week.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, they are all.
Yes, we will get to that later. Charlie needed this win, I think, a little bit more than you. Moving forward.
I can't disagree with it. I mean, I still should have won. Fuck you, McVay.
I agree with the fuck you McVay part.
Yeah. Big. A lot of close games this week. A lot of big games for the standings. I think the West moving to 2-0 against the East this week. Again, just to make that East versus West comparison, we are definitely up in the standings this year. So I think the West is having a little bit better every year. I know people will say, well, the points are this, but when the
it's about wins.
West has more wins. You guys are actually whooping our ass now on that.
When the head-to-head comes, you know.
You got 3 more than us.
Yeah, that's all I'm good for this year, like I said.
So
Division wins. Cool. Well, that's the recap. We're going to jump over really quickly to the commissioner, power rankings. I'm going to run through them pretty quickly here just because I want to get to some questions and maybe even talk about that trade a little bit further. But coming in at number 12 and right on cue with this trade that just happened. Again, I don't think it's that big. I think me and you might be a little bit off. You think it's like far in Tom's favor. I could see Jonathan Taylor outscoring Zeke for the rest of the year.
No, I could see that too.
But I do have Tommy coming in at number 12. I have Brian coming in at number 11. Good week for Brian, but still ends up on the shit end of the stick. He ends up getting, Jake just went off with Tyler Lockett, like we mentioned. Number 10, I have Tom. So 2 of the bottom 3 teams are the ones that just executed that trade. So someone's trying to make a jump next week. Number 9, I have Steve. And to be honest, the reason I have Steve and Tom at 9 and 10 is because they both could not pull out a victory over West opponents this week. They both scored under 100 points. Like, come on, guys, get it together.
Yeah, get it together, Steve.
Like, if you guys don't want to beat them, can I at least play them this week so I can beat them and move up a little bit? Number 8, although 4 and 3, probably gonna get some slack for this. I have Brock. I think his team is depleted with injuries,
Definitely get some flack for this.
and he has a lot of injuries. I don't think looking at his team, again, these are power rankings. If you want standings, check out the ESPN app. Go to ESPN.com/fantasy. You can check out your team. But I just think Brock's team, he pulled one out this week against Tom's shitty performance. It's more like Tom gave him the victory. But number 7, I have myself. So I think I made an acquisition this week to acquire Michael Thomas. We'll see how it goes moving forward. I think injuries are plaguing me a little bit as well. I don't think Carson's going to be that injured. I think he should be back, if not this week, next week. But yeah, I think just looking at the teams, I would still think I'm around 7. Number 6, I have Matt. So coming in, Charlie got the victory over you, so it kind of takes that leap.
That's bullshit.
And also the 4-game slide playing into it. You're on a little bit of a rough patch here. We'll see if you can bounce back
It's
this
every
week.
other year. It doesn't matter. I'm going to lose again this week.
All right. Number 5, man of the hour over here to the left, Alex. He's on the exact opposite trend of Matt. So he's on a 4-game win streak. The playoff train is rolling, he says. I hope that not to be the case. Not because I don't want to see you make the playoffs, but I just would rather have myself in there.
I mean, we all can't win, but
Yeah. Well, unless we both make it, we drop Jose out.
that's gonna be tough.
Number 3, I have Charlie. Number 4, I have Jake. Jake coming in, put up a huge point total this week. So, despite, I know he's at home watching this week just due to serving that suspension, but Jake, you're still top 5.
Get it together, Jake.
Number 3, I have Charlie. Just a great overall performance. I think Charlie is at risk of potentially dropping this week. We'll get into it later, but he has some really tough matchups with he has to fill in a lot of buys this week, so we'll see. Number 2, Jose. Congrats on the victory. I will never admit to GG before games being over ever again. Texted Jose basically what you were saying. I texted him, "You got this one, man," or I think I got this one officially at like the end of the 4 o'clock games, and then Herbert and Tyreek Hill scored back to back. So, and number 1, no surprise here. What's this? 3 weeks in a row?
4 weeks.
4 weeks in a row?
It should be 7 weeks in a row, honestly.
4 weeks in a row. Mike bringing home the number 1 spot. So, congrats. Another, again, his worst performance, but still got a 30-point win. So, kind of caught a break there. And, I mean, if he can keep rolling, we're halfway or over halfway to our first ever undefeated season. So, well earned, man. Congrats. That will do it for the power rankings. This is, I guess, the time when we take that break, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be right back with some questions for our guests. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to East Meets West. We are here again. Exciting episode so far. We're going to now transition into our segment of asking the audience for some questions and some comments. We have a few coming in, so we're going to start to go over them. After that, we're going to hit on our projections for next week, along with a little side segment for who has the best. And we'll go into a little bit more details on that. But first comment coming in from an anonymous owner. Steve sucks. I kicked him right off the playoff train. So, no, I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about that, but Matt, what do you think about Steve being on the train and missing his stop by getting pushed off?
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I mean, you know, I'm still holding on to third, which is nice from it.
Yeah.
It was super helpful to me. I hope Steve continues his woes, and you know, just I want him to lose again.
Well, I'm happy to beat him for you, Matt. It's always fun beating Steve.
Yeah. And from the sounds of it, anonymous owner also is happy about it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
anonymous owner sounds like a really smart man.
He's pretty excited about it. All right, we'll go on to the next comment. It was from Steve, and he said that at least I don't have to buy the board this year. To be determined, of course. The year's not over, but Steve doesn't think he's buying the board after that Tommy trade. I believe he thinks Tommy is now locking himself into buying the board. Big words from a little man. What do you think, Matt?
Well, I think he is also accepting the fact that he was kicked off the train because he seems a little defeated there. But he shouldn't have to buy the board because yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Steve was going to have to buy the board anyway.
Okay.
Even if the trade didn't go through.
Steve's good.
Yeah, Steve, you know, for all the stuff I've been saying about Steve, you know, I don't think Steve's has the worst team in the league. I don't think he's buying the board, regardless.
All right, well, win or lose, the last person buys the board. So,
Yeah.
Steve, win a few more games and you lock yourself in. Chat's going wild, guys. We're blowing up in the group chat. People are losing their minds. We're talking vetoes. We're talking clowns. We got things flying left and right. Zeke's on the move. I don't know. Brian suddenly forgot that he made a trade like this last year, and all of a sudden is attacking Tommy.
With Tommy as well. Yes.
Talk about the kettle calling the pot black or whatever that saying
I think
is.
it's reverse, but
Yeah,
whatever.
that too. Charlie's is in here, running backs. We're talking running backs. Jose's laughing at some stuff. Things going wild. I don't know what's going on, but very exciting night for the CBFFL. One thing all lost in this chaos is that Tommy, in addition to, well, two things actually. In addition to trading Zeke, Tommy is now mentioning that Mike Evans is up for trade. He only is looking for an RB1 or 2, lower tier, no longer looking high tier. So shoot him your offers. Exciting time again. Trade deadline coming up next week. But Jose did shoot out a segment that I kind of like, and I think we should talk about it a little bit. We're over halfway through the season. We talked about that. He wants to know, as of right now, who do you think has the best bench, the best wide receiver, and best running back core? So I think we're going to start off with bench because I think it's the least exciting, but can be a huge deal. Depth, bye weeks coming up. You never know. These injuries, COVID, everything's going on. Tommy's trading his team. Tom's acquiring his team. Tommy don't have a bench. Tom has too many benches. Things are going on. So who do we think at this moment has the best bench in our league? And because, Alex, I know you love this segment, I'm going to kick it over to you first.
Honestly, Myself or my brother. Not myself. No, I'm not being serious. But probably my brother, just because he has the deepest team in the league.
Who
And
is your
that's
brother,
without-
for those at home?
The cameraman.
Cameraman, yes.
Cameraman.
America.
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 What's up, biddies?
Also the owner of the sanitation department, 7-0 team. He is, if anyone's on a train this year, that man is it. So why Mike? Why do we think he has the best
Just because
bench?
he has the best rec in the league. That's about as
Gotcha.
extent to my research there. Didn't even look at any of the benches.
Who do you think is who do you think the best player on his bench is? I mean, you can make an argument for like Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Jared
Yeah.
McKinnon.
Tyler Boyd, Joe Bernard, soon to be Alexander Great.
How did he
players.
acquire Tyler Boyd?
How did he acquire? That's a very good question. We've been talking about one person a lot this episode. His
Steve.
name is Steve.
Tommy,
Team
Tommy,
Steve, but
Tommy.
Tommy as
Gotcha.
well. Steve, both of them. But in this
Good call.
particular, Tommy made another
They do.
great trade to the sanitation department.
It was excellent.
It was an excellent trade, very fair.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
They
That's-
traded Dearness Johnson,
Dearness Johnson,
running back for the Cleveland Browns.
who I couldn't
For
even
those
pick
who-
out of a lineup, by the way. I don't even know what that guy looks like.
I don't know
It's got long
if
hair, I think, right? Is that it?
He
I'm
gets-
not actually
I
sure.
think it's
no.
pictured it.
The
He gets-
issue was I don't think his running back coach could pick him out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Probably it.
So yeah, it was-
Tommy traded Tyler Boyd, like top 20 wide receiver, right? For a guy that gets paid to put on his uniform. So
fair enough, and this is why I bring this up, Tommy, not to hassle you a little bit, but I know you did just ask for a running back 1 or a running back 2 for Mike Evans because he's a top 20 receiver. So, as you can see, there's always a method to this madness on what I'm bringing up here. Tyler Boyd, wide receiver 12. I want to know, why didn't you ask for a running back 1 or 2 for Tyler Boyd? That's his question. You come on this show
this
as
has
a guest.
become an indictment.
You
of
come on the
Postal
show on this
Mafia.
test. You sit right here in the guest seat. Alex can join too. You can sit right up here, big guy. And you break that down for the people at home because we just want to know. All right, Matt, best bench.
I thought it was Steve. It
Okay,
doesn't
moving on.
look. It doesn't look super great now, but yeah, Steve has been making a lot of like smaller moves that have just been paying off, and they've just been no pun. And then he just has like a nice solid little bit of bench pieces just hanging around.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're not out on the train, so we can move on.
All right. For me, best bench. I guess I can't go. I don't want to make any repeats here. I would honestly think I say Mike, but I'm gonna go Jose. And I don't think it's the best bench for a plug-in every week, but I think it has the most upside. I think Jose's notoriously known for loading up on those running backs, and we see him get plug-in starts every week in the RB2 spot because he has those Myles Gaskins, Tony Pollard, Madison. Someone goes down, he plugs them right in. They usually give him a good baseline 8 to 10 points. So I'm going to go Jose for the bench. All right, we're going to move over to wide receivers. Matt, we'll kick it to you this time. Charlie, wide
Charlie.
receivers. And why Charlie? Who does he have?
Charlie has D-Hop, who is an animal. He had Michael Thomas, but he traded away for a guy who's currently playing. He doesn't know the situation for Michael Thomas's injury future, I guess. And I assume he didn't want to deal with the nonsense, just like the same way he didn't want to deal with the nonsense with James Conner.
Yeah.
But, yeah, D-Hop is the number 3 wide receiver right now. DJ Moore's 13, so he's just outside wide receiver 1. And he has Justin Jefferson, who is now, through his bye week, who's the wide receiver 15. He just has a really
He was the,
solid core.
7 before his bye, so people just jumped him because he had a bye week.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Alex, kick it to you.
I'm looking through the lineups now. I like Brian's receivers. I don't know if they're the best. Let me check that out. So Brian has Julio and DK. I like his receivers. I do like, was it Matt's receivers?
Jake's
Or-
receivers are really good too.
Steve's receivers are alright. My team has the best receivers. There's your answer.
There you go.
That's a great answer.
Devontae Adams, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
Not
gotta
the-
say more.
Yeah, that's it.
took the words right out of my
Yeah,
mouth. I
there
was
you
gonna go with you, but instead I will go with. So here's the deal. I think Jake has the best receivers. I think he can't catch a break with them getting healthy. If you can say you're gonna have CMC on a roster, this is not taking injuries yet. Start of the year, and you're going to give me Godwin, Galladay, and Lockett to go with them, sign me up. Like, I'm taking it. But if we're factoring in injuries, I honestly think, Charlie has the best receivers, so I don't have to copy you. We don't like them doubling down here on East Meets West. We're a unique show. We all have our own unique thoughts. I'm going to go with Brian. I think DK, Julio, and even Allen Robinson, even with Foles as his quarterback, because he's still, he had an awful game last night. It looked like he didn't even look his way for half the game. Still pulled down 4 for 70 and almost had double digits, so go Brian. All right, leaves one position left. That is the running back, and some may argue the most essential position in fantasy. If you get a good running back, good running backs, good core at the running back position, you're usually looking at a pretty good team. Mike is the perfect example of that. I'm going to go with Mike. I'm going to kick us off here. Go best running backs. Derrick Henry, number 2 running back on the year. Drafted 5th overall. I was the one that took him. Clearly a fan of Derrick Henry. Had to make a move, of course, to try to keep myself in it. Failed to do so, but whatever. We move on. But Todd Gurley and then Miles Sanders, once he comes back, he's going to be getting a ton of the workload again, as he was doing before he left. So shouldn't be too serious. He may play this week. You never know. So I'm going to go Mike. We will go this way.
I'm going to go myself.
Okay.
Aaron Jones is an animal. David Johnson is not,
Fat and slow.
but he's just
My
like
third
consistently getting me like 12 points
Yeah.
right now. And if he's going to be my third option, sitting my flex when the time comes, I am 100% okay with that. And unfortunately, Nick Chubb's out right now, but he's looking to be on track to come back week 10 after their bye. So, things are looking up for me.
Can only go up from a 4-game skid.
Yeah.
Alex.
Not to copy, but I was going to say Matt, especially with Chubb coming back. But I am looking around here. A lot of teams have, I would say a lot of teams have a good running back core. I do want to give Charlie a nod. He definitely does not have the best running backs, but for what he's been able to do with Swift and Robinson this year, I think he deserves some credit. But I'm actually going to go with the commish. I like Kareem Hunt. I like Chris Carson, Drake. I think you have some depth there, and those guys get a lot of volume, or at least, can have a lot of volume. But I'm going to go you.
Awesome, thanks. You want any of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk right after this.
Well, awesome.
Tom is a pretty good too, dude. I don't know if you looked at his running back core right now, Jonathan Taylor and Dearness Johnson.
I mean,
Tell you what,
the
Tom,
GM of
that's
the
it.
year, Tom Martino.
That horse is already dead.
Yeah.
also, not to, I appreciate you choosing me, but when you start a sentence with, I don't want to copy, but then copy, it's still copying.
All right, we're definitely
Just
not
to
going to
bring
talk after that.
Well, to be
Well, none of your fucking
to be fair, Alex picked Brian first, and then switched, and then you picked Brian as well.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks,
well,
yeah,
cameraman.
I didn't start the sentence, but I'm not going to copy. I'm going to copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to,
Now I know how Jake feels.
we'll have to look back at the tape.
Goddamn cameraman thinks he can come in here and run the show. I think one
I
thing,
appreciate you.
one thing we can
I
all
do
copy
appreciate
each
You
other
better
on is
appreciate
that
those notes.
cameraman is an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
We all copy each other.
I'm editing that out.
Okay.
You don't know how to edit.
You just press a button. Good old shaky hands Magoo. We had to buy a tripod.
So yeah, I guess thanks, Jose.
You all in for fucking an hour. See what you look like.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
All right,
so
this
we
is really getting out of hand.
we are. Let's bring it back in, guys. We're keep this shit moving. We are now going to move into our projections for this week. So I would love to tell the people at home how we did last week, but to be honest with you all, I have no idea. Jake hijacked the notebook and said if we're suspending him, he's keeping it captive, and the rest of everyone who wants to know can just wait another week. So hold on to the edge of your seat.
think
Keep
I did
building
pretty good this
suspense. I think I did as well.
I think I went 4-2.
Not exactly. I've been doing pretty well in that regard all year.
I think
Fantasy
you and I
wise.
think we're tied on that.
All right, so let's look into this week. So everybody's talking about Start My Game, of course, pops up first because I'm loading on my
Let's talk
phone.
about you.
But yeah, everyone's talking about Tommy making trades, and lucky for me, I mean, I hope that they are not great because I play them this week. So we are going to go. I'll start it off, I guess. We'll mix it up. I don't like going in the same order every time. I'll kick this one off. I'm going to say I'm going to win. We'll go Alex. Alex, what are you thinking?
I'm leaning towards. Is Chris Carson not going to play this upcoming week? Do we not know yet?
Not exactly
I guess
sure.
it's early.
We have no idea.
You know what? I mean, because I'm one and done on this, so my record doesn't matter with getting picks, right? I'm gonna go with Tommy. I'm gonna go with upset of the week. Is that a thing?
Yes,
Upset of the week.
It's a
Uh,
Mike's thing. But
we've been shitting on Tommy a lot. I think maybe this could help Tommy. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna go Tommy.
Okay.
I think that Joe is going to get his first win against the West. And I'm going to go with Joe, especially because I don't think Tommy has a second running back rostered right now to even put in that spot.
Dearness Johnson.
Yeah.
Let's not forget
Oh yeah,
about
that's a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
that.
Moving on. Oh,
America?
yeah, America.
Joe.
All right. We are going to move. Oh, I'm sorry. That was right now, I have a guy out. Tommy has a guy out. It's a 90 or 100 point to 85 point projection. So, and he has a running back out. I have a flex out. So you give us each, let's say, like 9 points. We're still looking at a 15 point projection my way, just to let everyone know. We'll move on to Brock versus Alex. Right now, Brock has 2 people on bye, 2 skill players, but we'll give them 9 each. That's 18, 88. Alex is still looking at about a 20 point projection. We'll start off with you're involved in the game. What are you
Yeah,
thinking?
I mean, this is barbecue chicken. This 2 weeks ago, Brock put up a stinker. You know, I like Brock. This is a very important game for me. You know, I don't want to overlook him, but Brock is banged up. He's depleted. Gibson's on bye. Looks like I'm looking good. I'm looking good. I should take this. If I don't, I'd be very upset.
Did you say this is your lock of the week?
No, I'm not gonna go that far.
Okay.
I don't want to do that to myself, you know, because this is taped. You know, I don't want to have that.
This
But
tape.
I am gonna say it's barbecue chicken.
Okay. Barbecue chicken for Alex. What do you think, man?
I'm going to take Alex as well. Especially if Mixon is to play this week, then yikes.
Are you
Those
thinking
projections go a little nutty.
lock of the
Brock
week?
has, yeah.
Yeah?
I think that Brock's got a couple buys too. They're just going to
Boy, I'm not
kick
good
his
at
ass
drawing
as well.
locks.
Just draw square.
Okay.
Let's give him a square.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Brock's team he's got another running back on bye, which is going to just screw him up and slow him down too.
Yeah, it's rough. I am going to, same thing as basically these 2 gents broke down. I'm going to go Alex. Well, it doesn't really pay me to say because one of them has to win, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So I think Alex is going to keep on going. 5 wins in a row. I hope to do that same to close out the year. But yeah, I think it's just a not even a close matchup. I'm going to actually go lock of the week as well.
Oh, thanks, boys.
I
I don't know how I feel about this.
just think Brock has, he said Gibson on
A
bye.
little bit of pressure.
Yeah, I don't like it.
His
Actually,
flex on bye, but he can throw Landry in there. Without Odell, maybe Landry will see a little bit more targets, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome Devontae Adams getting Minnesota and Patrick Mahomes getting the Jets. So, America.
Yeah, unfortunately, this little shit here is gonna win.
yeah. What happened with lock of the week last week, Mike? America.
You have to ask that loser, Steve.
All right.
Steve did not live up to the hype last week.
He was in
And-
fact a loser. Yeah.
Yes, he was a loser last week. And with that said, Steve versus Globo Gym Purple Cobras.
Big one.
We have right now Steve has a full team in. Jake is only missing his quarterback. We'll throw him a bone and give him 20 just to make the math easy. But that we're still looking at about a 5 to 7 point uphill climb for Jake. Who are we thinking here?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Steve,
Okay.
but it's going to be another disgusting week where Jake picks up just a running back up off the street and plays him. The dude scores 15 points for him
Yeah.
because it happens every week.
Or minus 0.5.
Keep in mind, I will say Christian McCaffrey did come and practice today. I'm pretty sure he, maybe not a full practice, but he showed up in like a red shirt,
And then he took it off.
and then he took it off in, like stone cold fashion, glass breaks, and he puts on the New Jersey, comes walking down. So we'll see if he plays. That could be interesting on, do him and Davis split carries? That could cause Jake.
Yeah, I think that it would be worse for Jake if he does play because he might
Yeah.
be forced to play Mike Davis and Christian McCaffrey, which
I-
wouldn't be the end of the world because they'll combine for 30 points. But
I hear you. I'm on board there too. I think Steve's gonna take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys. I do think Steve is gonna take this one. I think Steve will bounce back after losing to me. Just want to throw that out there. He lost to me. I want everyone to know that he lost to me. But I do think Steve's gonna win this week.
Cool. America.
Steve's a choke artist. Give me Jake.
Jake. All right. So far we
taking Jake.
looks like so far Alex's game is the only clean sweep for us. But we'll go into America's game. So I think this is this has to be game of the week.
Yeah.
This is Mike and Jose again. This is 116 point to 114 point projection. We're talking the heavy hitters here. We're talking McGregor, Habib. We're talking this is the showtime right here. So I will start. Let's start. America, you never get to go first, man. America, who you got? Yourself or Jose?
I'm gonna smash him.
America's going with himself.
Oops, wrong.
I just wrote the wrong name. I am going to go.
Go pick Jose.
Man, no, I think it's close. Though.
This is basically.
I feel like the commish picks Jose every week.
I think it's close. No, I picked me last week. We saw that.
Oh yeah.
But give me Herbert. Can't keep doing it, right? Give me Mike.
Yeah, Denver's a rough defense.
Ah, crap.
I guess I'm gonna go with America too. More so for selfish reasons. I need Jose to lose. I'm not catching the sanitation department. Nobody is.
Yeah.
During the regular season, so let him enjoy his little undefeated run.
The streak.
The streak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
also need Jose.
I think Mike's gonna win it again too.
Oh, fuck.
I think
Clean sweep.
he's gonna keep
This
it going.
isn't good.
You don't earn the number one spot
This
and
isn't
then not
good.
have people back you, man. So clean sweep for Mike.
Upset written all over it.
Let's go on to interesting game here. This is what we were talking about earlier with Charlie needing that win this week.
Yes.
Charlie versus Tom. Charlie has his quarterback, his RB1, and his receiver 1 all on bye. He was able to, he made some moves ahead of time to set himself up for this week as best as he could. So he does have a full lineup in. Tom also has a full lineup in. Tom right now is sitting at a 23-point favorite. Who are you thinking, Matt?
I'm gonna go with Tom simply because he upgraded a running back and got rid of a guy that was on bye for it.
If Tom does make this trade and then ends up losing to Charlie with this, his basically a B team, you could say, filling in on his buys, is it too demoralizing to come back from? I mean,
no. Our division's still super close.
Okay.
Regardless, I mean, he's out of third place by like 20 points.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's so congested, so even if somehow Tom loses this week, it's not over for him. It's definitely not a good look. But I'm going to agree with Matt. I think, Charlie this is a very fortunate week to play Charlie if you're Tom, with his 3 big guys on bye, and we see Tom's new team. It looks good on paper, so I'm going to roll with Tom.
Yeah, I'm also going to choose Tom. I think if Charlie does pull it out, I mean, he's going to be relying a lot on Justin Tucker. He just acquired him. Big acquisition.
Pittsburgh's pretty good at keeping people out of the end zone, right?
I know he's breaking. He broke out the jersey. Everyone saw the video, so he's all in on Justin Tucker. America.
Char by? No, I'm just kidding. Tom's gonna fuck him up.
Clean
Lock of the
sweep
week.
for Tom.
Lock of the week.
All right, and we are going to move in.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be my lock of the week too.
Sorry, Char.
Lock of the week.
Yeah.
I think he
Both
expects this.
Atlantics.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie is totally
I'm
expected.
going- yeah.
I think Charlie, if he was sitting here, he penciled himself in as a loss this
He
week.
needed to win more this week than
But he can very well still lose this week and be in the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
All right, last final game here that we're going to talk about: Matt versus Brian. Matt, you have a full team in. Brian does as well. You're looking at about 5 points,
Mhm.
a 5-point favorite right now. Picking yourself.
Of course.
Okay. Any reason why, or just
No, last week was the prelude to the Get Right week, and this is just going to be the actual Get Right week where the W happens as well.
Alex? Yeah.
As much as I like Matt, but I think the losing streak is going to continue. I'm gonna go Bry. I like Bry's players matchups. It looks like he has some favorable matchups there. New Tampa Bay's playing the Giants. Kansas City's playing the Jets. You know, I think he's going to get some good numbers from Brady and Clyde this week.
America?
Bry.
Right, okay. I think this one's really close.
Oh, it's definitely close.
The Seahawks
Yeah.
are on bye, right?
The Seahawks are not on bye.
Yeah,
They're
by
playing
They
San
were.
Fran.
They're by the
Their
Dolphins.
bye is done.
Ah,
Are you switching to Matt?
no.
And Robinson might be in the concussion protocol, or he is in the concussion protocol, right?
He is, yes. He does have Melvin Gordon waiting in the wings. And also, I don't know what Aaron Jones' status is. He's questionable. I think it could be huge for, they
If
come
Aaron
down to
Jones don't play, I'm losing.
Yeah. So I'm going to bank on right now. I don't like John Brown in the slot there and in the flex. I think I got to go Brian here. Especially if with that Aaron Jones questionable tag. That's what's throwing me
I
off.
have a lot more question marks than Brian does too, because Deontay
Yeah.
had another dumb injury where
And-
he might get screwed, and if Aaron Jones is out too, like that's
And with David Johnson out, you're going to be starting Malcolm Brown again. So he looked okay when he was getting, but Henderson still owns that backfield.
Yeah.
So, all right. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3 games where it's a clean sweep. We have the others. They're basically one person is choosing differently. So we have America choosing Jake, Alex choosing Tommy.
Oh, yeah. Can I get serious about that? I'm going with the commission.
You going with me?
Yeah, so let's swap that.
All right. Then we have 2 games that are not unanimous here.
there's
But yeah, we are going to. That about wraps us up, right? Any last words? Again, crazy on-air stuff going down this week. We'll see. I can only imagine it's going to get crazier as the weeks conclude. We're going to have this trade deadline coming up. Everyone's so tight.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what actual trades pop out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actual trades.
see if maybe Tommy can get his RB2 before the weekend comes. But cool. Quick update on viewing the games. I know we were planning on viewing them at my house this week. We are not going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, my piece of shit TV just the whole backlight went out, so I'm waiting for a repairman to come out and fix that up. So I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we can, Jake's house, if it's open, I don't know if America's going to invite us over, what we're going to do there. Or we can just all sit at home and
No.
watch it on our own. But with that said, no closing words.
Oh, yeah. Closing words. Thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
Always invited.
Yeah, I wish you would ask me a question, but it's all good. It's all good. I think I helped out here.
We didn't ask you questions, did we?
No, it's all
Okay,
good.
let's keep
Next
it
time.
rolling.
No,
Let's ask
no,
questions.
next time.
Nope,
next
too
time.
late. You already brought the attention to yourself.
Damn.
I thought that you being involved in the whole show was going to be enough for you, but I guess
It was
the
pretty good.
train-
It was pretty good, but I have an ego, so ask me questions now.
Okay. What is your first action item going to be when, after a 5-3 start, you end up not making the playoffs and I squeeze in?
All right, real questions. I do want to say. GM of the year maybe. 0-3 start.
GM in the year is in.
4-game
comeback
winning
of the
streak
year, right?
could be 5. If
Yeah.
a couple things go this week, I could be second place. I mean, the GM of the year always doesn't go to the best record. You got to make some moves to salvage your season.
Yeah, I will say that.
Like
this
trade
is
for
also,
AJ Green and Mark Ingram and then drop them both.
Is that a Tom shot?
Who?
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. Another thing that was brought up in chat here was that this is the furthest along in the season, I believe, that Charlie has been over 500. Usually,
Yeah.
usually he makes up his ground at the end of the season, ends like 6-7, 5-8. I don't know if he actually had a 5-8, but
He had 2-11, I think.
Is Charlie the Cleveland Browns of the league?
there is a video stating that circling around the interweb somewhere.
Okay.
I can certainly say that.
Okay.
But by an anonymous owner somewhere out there in the land. But all right, we're not asking you any more questions. I'm hungry.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
cool.
We're gonna wrap
Thanks,
this
boys.
up.
I appreciate
Oh,
it. Jake,
food.
you fucking stink. Steve, you suck.
Catch you next time.